Hello, and welcome to my Applied Research Project proposal. My name is Joseph Salazar, and my ARP is a business plan proposal to design and develop a Commission on Accreditation of Athlete Training Education accredited athlete training residency program in orthopedics. My advisor for my ARP was Dr. Eric Sowers. My business plan outline would include an executive summary, program description, an overview of mission and content analysis, benefits to external and internal communities, an operating plan, and appendices, which will be included in this project. Design, develop, and implement an accredited post-professional athletic training residency program in orthopedics. The residency program will be a joint venture between the Cleveland Clinic and the Cleveland Indians Professional Baseball Organization in Cleveland, Ohio. The PPATR will aim to comply with the KD standards for post-professional athletic training program. Currently, the Cleveland Clinic has been ranked as the #2 best hospital by the U.S. News and World Report in 2017, 2018, and ranked #3 in orthopedics in selected specialty. This proposed athletic training residency program in orthopedics will provide residents with the opportunity to interact with well-renowned physicians. This newly created residency program will be a 12-month position employed by the Cleveland Clinic starting in January 2019 with one resident per calendar year. The resident will also spend one clinical rotation in Goodyear, Arizona during the Cleveland Indians spring training with members of the Cleveland Indians medical staff and members of the Cleveland Clinic orthopedic group. The startup cost for the PPATR will be around $53,000, which includes the resident salary of $35,000, which is the majority of the startup cost. A $5,750 one-time fee will cover the initial application fee and self-study and site fee for accreditation. The 5-year budget proposal will include an additional $62,000 from the initial startup budget for a second resident, which will be around 2022 and 2023, which will include the details at a later date. Clinic Orthopedic Athlete Training Residency Program will be a rigorous, full-time program designed to provide advanced preparation of athlete training practitioners through a planned program of clinical and didactic education in the specialized contact area of orthopedics. The PPATR is designed to advance the orthopedic knowledge and skills of the athlete trainers in the 6 core competencies as you see on the slide. The resident will spend the majority of his or her time at the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Center, which is a standalone, state-of-the-art sports medicine complex complete with outpatient surgery suites, office and exam rooms, on-site imaging, a large functional rehabilitation gym, and aquatic therapy. The resident will also share time at Progressive Field, which is the home of the Cleveland Indians, and a rotation at their spring training facility in the months of February and March. Of this program, the uniqueness approach between these two highly ranked organizations will be create a one-of-a-kind PPATR program in the country. It will be the first to have a professional Major League Baseball organization collaborate with a highly ranked clinic for post-professional training, with surgical rotations, clinical evaluation and diagnosis of orthopedic injuries, and radiology assessments are some of the unique aspects of this proposed residency program, which will include a blend of clinical and dietetic experiences. The Cleveland Clinic currently provides residency opportunities for physical therapists, pharmacists, and physicians across numerous specialties and subspecialty practices. The educational component of this proposed residency program will be a collaboration of what is already in place with the Cleveland Clinic with the physical therapy sports residency program of both clinical and dietetic experiences. The resident in the orthopedic athletic training residency program will be exposed not only to professional baseball, but other professional sports in the Cleveland area, along with clinical rotations and various orthopedic subspecialty areas such as shoulders, knees, wrists and hands, elbows and hips, as well as a radiology rotation. The resident will be involved in advanced case studies and evidence-based literature reviews and protocols, along with monthly journal clubs, resident lectures, and continual education seminars offered by the Cleveland Clinic. The KD accreditation requirements for this residency program will comply with the KD standards for post-professional athletic training programs, which include specific standards for developing core competencies, as well as standards related to the residency program's sponsorship, program's objective and outcomes, residency personnel, faculty resources, financial resources, program descriptions, and outcome measures, which I will explain at a later slide. The accreditation process will begin shortly after the first resident is admitted into the program and the process is expected to take up to 2 years or more before a decision regarding accreditation is provided by the Commission. Now, the accreditation process is strictly voluntary and is not required for this program to be successful. However, it provides the applicant program the opportunity to demonstrate compliance with the approved standards and an external validation of the program's educational offering. Timeline for the athletic training residency program. The decision to seek accreditation will begin sometime this December with the initial cost of $750. We will conduct a self-study program to ensure that it meets the standards by December 1, 2019, after the first resident has gone through. This compile a self-study program by March 1st, 2020. Submit the self-study program by July 1st, 2020, with the non-refundable self-study and site visit fee of $5,000. As you can see, the accreditation process will continue on till 2021. So the strategic partnership between these two organizations is a professional working partnership between the Cleveland Clinic and the Cleveland Indians has been ongoing for more than 2 decades. A new contract between the two organizations was recently signed in early 2018 to continue this great partnership for the next 5 years. Currently, the Cleveland Indians uses 6 orthopedic surgeons, an osteopath, sports medicine physician, a radiologist, a rehabilitation specialist, and many subspecialty consultants, all who are employed by the Cleveland Clinic for their medical coverage. This strategic partnership between these two organizations provides a rich environment from which to establish a successful residency program in orthopedics. Market analysis was completed, and currently there are 6 accredited athletic training residency programs in the country, while 8 other programs still seeking accreditation. There are many more athletic training residency programs that are not accredited or in the process of seeking accreditation, some of whom are located near Cleveland, Ohio, such as The Ohio State University and Michigan State University. Of the 6 currently accredited programs, all of them are in the specialty area of orthopedics. Each of these programs are 12-month in length and are, with the exception of the Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Teaching and Research Foundation, which offers a 13-month program. Each of the 6 accredited residency programs specializing in orthopedics are sponsored by Sports Medicine Clinic, just like the Cleveland Clinic that we are offering. For programs seeking accreditation, the majority of them come from specialized field of orthopedics, with the exception of Boston University, with a residency program specializing in neurotrauma and spine. You can see here, this was found in the athletic training residency accredited program on the website. Competitive strengths. A significant competitive strength of the proposed residency program is the reputation of the sponsoring organization. The diverse medical staff of the Cleveland Indians has a combined professional experience of over 88 years in professional baseball. As I mentioned earlier, the Cleveland Clinic has been ranked number 2 in best hospital by the U.S. News and World Report in 2017 and 2018, and ranks number 3 in orthopedics and selected specialty. There are numerous opportunities for the resident to engage with highly trained orthopedic specialists in their respective subspecialties of shoulders, knees, hips, wrists, and hands, and radiology, which I'll explain at a later slide. The existing residency and fellowship training programs provide tremendous infrastructures and personnel support that is highly synergistic with the goals of the proposed athletic training residency program. Also, the opportunity to be in a high-paced environment and interact with a professional sports setting provides this proposed residency program a unique distinction over other residency programs in the country. Some of the overviews of mission and content analysis include a residency program vision. The vision of the Cleveland Clinic athletic training residency program in orthopedic is to be a world leader in preparing athletic trainers as orthopedic specialists, emphasizing patient experience, clinical outcomes, research, and education. At the same time, the residency program mission statement is to prepare athletic trainers as orthopedic specialists who provide high-quality patient care with an emphasis on clinical outcomes and clinical research in orthopedics within a world-class sports medicine environment. Of the mission and content analysis include some of the outcomes of the program is to demonstrate advanced orthopedic clinical decision-making that is predicted on foundation understanding and application of quality improvement, evidence-based practice, patient-oriented outcomes, and healthcare informatics. The objective to that outcome is that the residency program will increase the residents' depth and breadth of understanding of athletic training core competencies in patient-centered care, interdisciplinary collaboration, evidence-based practice, quality improvement, use of healthcare informatics, and professionalism. Outcome measures will included in this residency program is the athletic training milestones will be used to facilitate peer staff evaluation through the residency program for the purpose of assessing the resident maintain of competence. This is a new milestone objective outcome currently in the literature. And how do we measure those outcomes is that the resident will be evaluated in each of the 6 general competencies, as mentioned earlier, as well as one specialty area of orthopedics. The goal is to have the resident score at least 4 out of 6 in each competencies, including the 2 orthopedic specialty competencies. Each of the resident's mentors or supervisor will be engaged in this process and will receive at least 2 evaluations in each outcome for each rotation. Benefits to external and internal communities. It has been shown that adding an athletic trainer resident in an orthopedic physician practice can result in a 15 to 30% increase in the numbers of patients seen and improve patient outcomes. The benefits of having a residency, a PPATR within the clinic could include improvements related to time savings, patient satisfaction, increased revenues, and patient education. This kind of time saving resulting in increased patient volume can facilitate external communities access to providers of the clinic. This can translate into greater access to specialty care at the Cleveland Clinic, which would be a significant benefit to the external communities served by the Cleveland Clinic. And the undertaking that improves efficiency or volumes at the Cleveland Clinic is a significant benefit to both internal and external. So with the operating plan, the resident will be working predominantly out of the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Center in Garfield, Ohio. This residency program, like as I mentioned, is a 12-month position started in January 2019 and will run to December 31st with 1 resident per calendar year. The resident will report directly to the athletic training residency program director, but would also be evaluated and directed by various preceptors and residency physicians, mentors of the program. This program will include a one-on-one mentoring time at the Cleveland Clinic with members of the Sports Medicine Orthopedic Group at the Sports Health Center. Organization structure and personnel look like. Our medical residency director will be Dr. Mark Schickendance, who is also the Cleveland Clinic Director of Center of Sports Health, and as well as the head team physician for the Cleveland Indians. Currently, right now, we're in the process of determining an athletic residency director, but I will explain to you the job description of that residency director at a later time. You can see here the list of residency preceptors, program supervisors, associate physician, residency physicians, and as well as various residency preceptors of the program. The residency startup calendar will look as follows. Started in January, we started the process as we continued the conversation of both sponsoring organization and forming, deciding to formalize an accreditation requirement for the residency program. In February and March, we started to establish who the residency director search committee was going to be, as well as establishing a job description of the athletic training residency director. We began a search for the residency director, and as well as establishing the added cost for that residency director at the clinic. Currently, right now, we're in the process of hiring the residency director. As you can see in the startup calendar here, is that we will start the resident search by August, September, and hopefully have the new athletic resident hired by October, November, while the first athletic resident will be admitted in January of 2019. Of one of the clinical and dietetic education formats. We will have a contact area. For this example, we have a radiology rotation with Dr. Josh Polster. The related area to core competencies will be included, the location and curriculum, as well as the dietetic and clinical experiences, and roughly how many mentoring hours will be provided in each section. So the location of this residency program will obviously be located at the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Center in Garfield Heights, Ohio. The Cleveland Indians Progressive Field would be also a location for the resident. We mentioned the Cleveland Indians spring training sites in Goodyear, Arizona, as well as the other sporting teams in the Cleveland area will also be partnership with the Cleveland Clinic, as well as the athletic training residence locations. Will be provided during the program for the resident at the Cleveland Clinic. The resident will have reasonable access to the information resources needed to adequately prepare them to advance practice and to support the post-professional core competencies. The resident will be required to have his or her own computer for conducting literature review, quality project, journal club, and for accessing the Cleveland Clinic library while at the Cleveland Clinic. The resident will have access to a working station where the resident can assist with electrical medical record data collection or assisting with literature reviews. Our startup funding, it looks like this. As I mentioned, the resident salary makes up the large portion of the startup funding of $35,000. As you see, there was a 70-30% split. Will be a contract negotiation between the Cleveland Clinic and the Cleveland Indians, where the finance costs will come from. The Cleveland Clinic will be responsible for 70% of that, and the Cleveland Indians will pick up the remaining 30%. As you can see on the table here, a full compensation benefit package, licensure reimbursement, CEUs, conference fees, and so forth will be listed under the Cleveland Clinic. Any transportation and housing costs to Goodyear from Cleveland will be the responsibility of the Cleveland Indians, making the total cost of $39,900 to the Cleveland Clinic, and the $13,000 will be paid out by the Cleveland Indians. A 70-30 split. The contractual agreement between these two organizations is listed in the topic of agreement, where the Cleveland Indians agrees to be responsible for 70% of the total cost of the athletic training resident program, including salaries, full-time benefit package, and so forth, while the Cleveland Indians will be responsible for 30% of the total cost of the residency program. As I mentioned before, the residency program director's job description will be outlined as well as in a contract form. Whoever that individual will be, the resident program director will be a full-time employee of the Cleveland Indians, should have at least a minimum of 5 years of an athletic training experiences, as well as working knowledge of the skills, attitudes, and abilities expanded of someone who has completed a residency program, or at least knowledgeable of the program itself. The responsibility of the resident program director is to define clearly the residents with certain accountability to the resident and the residency training locations. Is to sustain records of contribution and commitment to practice. It will be responsible to include the input and assurance of all the following resident program features listed on this page. Resident's job description, it will also be in a contract form, which will be act as a resident employment contract, will be listed on the actual business proposal as well. It will include his duties, responsibilities, job descriptions, certain accreditation standards, meetings, and so forth, as well as any probationary reasons, discharge of the program will be listed on there on the actual contract agreement. We included a 5-year budget proposal here in a spreadsheet that would look like in each year. Clearly 2019 is a little bit more expensive than 2020 as an overall outcome, largely because of the first-time fees of the application for accreditation, as you can see down below, of the $5,750 in there. We justified a 7% increase in salary, as well as cost of living for the residents. By 2022, after going through the program of 1 resident per year, our goal is to include 2 residents per year. As you see in red, is the added amount of what it would cost for the second resident into the program. If the 5-year total cost is roughly around $400,000, which was split up between the 2 organizations. As you can see in red, of what it would cost for the second resident into the program. The Cleveland Clinic for all their time and efforts in considering this business plan proposal a reality. I also like to thank the Cleveland Indians for the support in allowing me to pursue this business plan and assisting me in my passion for post-professional education. I also like to thank my advisor, Dr. Eric Sowers, for all his energy and communication on his business plan. I couldn't have not done this without him. And lastly, I'd like to thank my family and loved ones for all their support these last few years, especially this last year, and I couldn't have done it without them as well. So I want to publicly thank these groups first and foremost. And here are the references. Thank you for taking a look at my ARP. Congratulations for those that are finishing the program, as well as congratulations for completing your ARP projects this block. Thank you.